Hey folks, how you doing? My name's Mike Watson, and I wanted to talk about a decision I made recently about retirement. And I'm a government worker. I've been working for the government for probably over a little over 37 years, and I'm at that age where I'm MRA over 30, and I could have left last June, but the deferred resignation program kicked in, and we had a short amount of time to think about it, but I never really took the time to understand my numbers. Okay. And so I started watching a lot of YouTube videos and different folks out there that are providing guidance based on the OPM directions and all these different things. There was so much information flying at us from so many different directions that I had to become a student really fast as to where I stood financially, and did I have enough savings in TSP and those kinds of things. Well, after taking a crash course in my own personal life and finances, I did make the decision to take the fork in the road deferred resignation program, and then with a retirement date of December 31st. And I was accepted. I didn't expect that to happen because I worked for the DOD, but on the first round there were a lot of what do they call it? There were people that were exempted from the opportunity, so they couldn't do it based on their position and things like that. So I was one of the ones that waited until the very last minute to apply for this program, because as you remember, it was pretty pretty fast, very vague. You can take 8 months of vacation and do whatever you want, and just some very basic things that were really kind of all right. This is skittish and not right. Thankfully, I work for Defense Logistics Agency. They took their time in digesting the information and working on a plan on how to implement it. And so I waited. And then, of course, it got tied up in the courts. And then eventually the court said, yep, you can go forward with this. And then they cut the program off right away. OPM shut it down. And, if your name was in the system, you got lucky. And if it wasn't and you waited as a holdout, you're probably in a position now, like most people who are looking at round 2 of a DRP, which is being handled, with the agencies themselves now. So the Department of Defense is doing their own thing, and so you understand where I'm getting at. But like most people in my position, I had to start thinking about the future. And really the only reason why I continued to work is because my wife still had to do another probably 3 years until she hits her MRA. So I figured I would just write it out and then we'll go together. But, I'm not getting any younger, and my health isn't all that great. And so, when you look at the statistics on people that were I was born in 1967, I probably have a life expectancy of, 74 to 76 or something like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got 20 years to live. So hopefully I live longer than that. But obviously I needed to think about how, do I want to keep working, or do I want to start trying to do the things that I want to do and relax and wind down and just detox from the daily grind. And so I made the choice. I took the deal, and I think I made a good decision. So far, we went through a process of offboarding from work, right? So we had some financial things that we had to do in Eagle. We had, those of us that worked in the government, or at least for DOD, worked through the GRB platform to go ahead and schedule the retirement date and all that and get that submitted. It has a great program that allows you to do some estimates to kind of figure out where you're sitting. And in my case, because I'm over the age of 57, I do qualify for the FERS supplement in addition to my pension. So, and that's not a bad deal. So I continue to get paid until the December. And then, the pension kicks in along with the supplement until I'm 62 years old. Then I lose that supplement. All right. But at which time I'm eligible to draw Social Security if I choose to take it early at age 62. Of course, you're taking a penalty because, some people want to wait until they're 70 and get the full benefit. But I'm like, well, if I only live, 6 more years beyond that, then I've wasted age 62 on up to 70. You follow me? Are you tracking? So for me, I think it's best that I go ahead and draw that out when I'm 62. So some of the things I got to look forward that I have to be careful of is not to make too much money in retirement, because I think if you go over like $24,000 or something like that, I don't know the exact number, but it's in that range of, taxable income. Well, then you start to lose $1, for every, I think it's every $2 you go over the set amount, you lose $1 of your supplement. So there's a lot of videos out there and people that talk about that, but so I got to be careful right now. If you look, I'm just, I got grandkids. I want to be able to travel and see them. And there's a lot of you folks out there that are in lots of different, you're in a different position in your life. Some of you are eligible for VERA. Some of you might be holding out until there's a VSIP, where there might be an incentive to ask you to go. But the writing's on the wall, peeps. You look at all the things that are coming out from the DOD and others. Where do you stand in the mix? Right? How many years you got in service? Are you getting outstandings on your evaluations? Are you adding value? Are you mission critical? So I can't answer none of that stuff for you, but I can tell you that, these first couple of weeks of being on administrative leave have been strange, to say the least. First of all, the weather's been like crap since this all started for me. I think we had 1 or 2 nice days. I cut some grass and things like that. But I had all these grandiose plans because I got a truck that's out of commission that I need to fix the transmission on. I've got another project in the shop that I've been working on for several years that I would love to dedicate all my time on. And you can see around me here, I have other hobbies too. I like to build models and scratch build things. So I have things to keep me busy, but it's getting the motivation to do it. And I think it's because I'm so used to waking up, via the alarm clock, getting ready for work, driving into work, dealing with deadlines, responding to customers, whatever my workload is, it is. And so you almost get institutionalized over a long period of time, and stepping out is a shock to the system. So I'm not used to this. So I kind of have to create my own structure and things like that. And I'm thinking, if you've landed on this page, or, this same video I'm showing on both Watson's Wagons, that's my logo up there, and the stuff you see behind me is part of Watson's Models. I started a couple of YouTube channels a long time ago. I've been chipping at them. And if if you're interested in seeing the things that I do in retirement, well, you can just go back and look at some of the videos that I've posted here on the channel that you've landed on. And there's more to come, obviously, because I'm not going to work. So everything you've seen before, I did in my spare time. So I was working a full-time job, raising a family, doing all the things that guys do, and then trying to find a little bit of time for myself And I just happen to document that in order to, share the hobbies, share the automotive work, share the model building, tips and tricks, whatever, as a way to help other people, get through whatever it is they're working on. So to me, that adds value to those who need it. It adds value to me in my noodles. I got to keep those neurological pathways firing, And so I just don't want to be one of those guys that sits on the couch and becomes a zombie. But these first 2 weeks have been rough. I'm just saying. But I'm slowly crawling out of the funk and starting to accept being home and accept my own schedule. And so just take it easy and forgive yourself, and it's okay. I have been paid while on admin leave, so that function works, and I'm not too concerned about that. But I am, I want to see what happens after September 30th, because there's that time between September 30th and December that, we want to make sure we're getting paid. And I'm sure there's a bunch of you out there watching this that took the same deal that I did. And, we need some assurances that that we are not released on September 30th, and then retirement kicks in 3 months later and we don't get paid. So that's a definite concern of mine, and I've been sending emails to the benefits people and all that just to confirm that we are grandfathered in, right, through December, just like all the memos stated, all the department memos, everything that came out, policies and procedures, and that we're not impacted by round 2, which doesn't allow for that stuff. So we got to make sure that we stay on top of that with your organizations, okay? Anyhow, look, I appreciate your time, and I know this is a little bit long-winded. I'm probably, 12, 13 minutes into this. But again, if you want to join me on my retirement journey, I will have a lot of stuff to show. I'll be producing model kits. I'll be doing kit reviews on the Watson's Models channel. And then if you slip on over to the Watson's Wagons channel, then you can go see how I rebuilt, World War II Jeeps and the truck I'm working on and stuff like that. There's a lot more of that to come this summer. I will be nonstop working on getting those things completed, because my goal is to have a driving rolling chassis by winter. And I think I can do that. I think I can do it by midsummer if everything works out. So, hey, if you took the DRP and you're getting ready to retire, humma, 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 I appreciate your support and your service to your country. First of all, I wore the uniform. I was a soldier. But then I became, a government civilian, and gave them all a whole lot of years of my life. And a lot of you did that too. And for those of you that have never worn the uniform, but decided to work for the federal government, and you're at the point of retirement and ready to roll, thank you for your service, because you are still serving your country. So, all right, folks, thanks for watching. I hope you subscribe and like the channels. Visit both of them. I have links in my whatever home pages. I don't know how that stuff works. It's just there. And hey, I look forward to having fun with you folks. All right, give me some chats. Throw some chats out there, and let's all get through this together. Okay, it's a different journey. All right, love you guys. Bye.